Good evening, and welcome to our January segment of Northwest City Politics. Today we'll be spending some time speaking with our state representative for Senate District 43B, Cedrick Frazer. He'll be joining us to talk about the upcoming legislative session and his plans for the future. And of course, we're going to talk about the current state of affairs in our Twin Cities and the surrounding areas. So, Cedrick, thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here, Eric. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot to process in this time, and we're excited to be able to have you so that we can talk about what's happening, but also what we have to look forward to. But I think the big thing, right, is that this will be your last term.
That's right.
As a House representative.
That's right. At least for the foreseeable future. My last term. Decided not to run again, but I'm not going away from politics. I've decided I am currently in a campaign and running for Hennepin County Attorney.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, I have so many questions about that, which I will definitely be asking you during our time together.
All right.
But you served 3 terms in the Minnesota House, right?
Yep.
You'll complete 3 terms. Prior to that, you served 1 term as New Hope City Council member.
That's correct.
You contributed a lot. You were a major player in the last couple of legislative sessions where we really, there was a lot of significant change that benefited Minnesotans.
Yeah.
Of course, you spent a lot of time with Speaker Emeritus Melissa Hortman.
I did.
Right? You were also here during that tragedy of her assassination, her and Mark, and the shooting, of course, of Senator John Hoffman. So did that play any role into your not wanting to seek re-election?
I think there had been thoughts before. There had been community members that had come to me asking me if I would consider running for other offices. Wasn't necessarily the county attorney's office. The current county attorney, Mary Moriarty, decided not to run, so that played a part in it too. But definitely, with the assassination of Melissa and Mark, and then the shooting of John. And Yvette, it really did make me think overall about serving and what the impact of serving has meant for me and my family. So there was a moment of pause to contemplate if this is something that I wanted to continue to do, because you do it with the approval of your family, and they're there with you, and they're in it with you. But any time that you're put in a position where there could be harm brought to them, I think you have to really take pause and think about that. And so I did do that. Had conversations with my family, my wife and kids, and they're supportive. And so my thoughts were, I've always looked at politics and service as a way of giving back, one. And it's always, if you got the approval of your wife, too. Right. Right?
And your support.
Yep, and your family, because they're in it with you. And it was thinking about that, and I believe that in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, there's still a lot of great work that can be done there. And overall, my whole thought is we want to keep moving forward and building a system that's better for everybody.
Well, it's amazing that you chose to do that, and then to see what has happened now. It's kind of the epicenter of a lot of things all coming together. I believe the Hennepin County Attorney's Office is going to have to play a very big role in whatever the future brings to the residents of Hennepin County, but also the fallout of what is currently playing out in our streets. But we'll definitely talk about that. So as an outgoing House representative, what happens to your seat?
Well, it's going to be an open race now. I believe we have 2 or 3 candidates that have come forward that I'm aware of at the moment. There's still time that I'm aware of at the moment. I think we have some good people that are passionate about the district and doing what's best for all Minnesotans. So I'm excited about seeing how their campaigns roll out. I'm always excited about the future. I'm always excited when people decide to run. And I'm also specifically excited because after the assassination of Melissa and Mark, it really was, for me, there was some concern about whether or not people would want to step up because of
political violence.
It's because of political violence. And the fear is the point of it, right? But I've been really encouraged by seeing people ready and willing to run and serve their community. So we have been pleasantly surprised that there are many people that want to step up and continue to serve.
Absolutely. for the viewers at home, can you remind us which cities or parts of cities in 43B you represent?
Yep. So it's B side is Rep. Freiberg, who's now running for Senate.
I'm sorry.
No, we're good.
You know what? For the viewers at home, I keep doing this. Every 10 years they flip.
That's right.
So I apologize.
No, because
A side, yes.
So the A side now captures the totality of the city of New Hope and almost a majority of the city of Crystal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty much those two entire communities.
Correct.
And then the B side of 43 is, I think, Golden Valley, part of
Robbinsdale, and a little bit of Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think there's like one precinct in Plymouth, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course you also on that side, I'll just mention, since we got the numbers wrong, that Representative Mike Freiberg, he is actually seeking also a higher office. He was here with us last month, and he's looking to fill the seat at the Senate level that's being opened up by the retirement of Senator Ann Rest.
That's correct. And I would say for folks paying attention, it's fortunate because Mike has done a great job, served as a city council member a long time in the city of Golden Valley, been a long time representative, and it's going to be great to still have that institutional knowledge and experience and expertise in that role. So I'm really glad that he stepped up and he's willing to continue to serve.
Excellent. Okay, so the House will be called into session. I think a little under a month from now?
That's right. February 17th, we'll be back.
Right, and so you're entering that legislative session, and you're going to be a co-chair,
That's right.
Of a very important committee.
Yeah, and the reason it's co-chair is because we're tied in the House. Haven't seen it since 1979, I think it was. And so we share the gavels. Republicans get an opportunity for so many committee hearings. The Democrats get an opportunity for so many committee hearings. But essentially everything has to be bipartisan coming out of those committees and then going to the House floor and then voted out to go over to the Senate. I have been appointed as the co-chair of the Ways and Means Committee, which is important because every finance bill goes through that committee before it is put on the register to go to the floor for a debate and a vote. And it's important in this moment because, one, we've seen because of the federal bill that budget that was passed last year, we're looking at some significant cuts in resources that will be coming to our state. And so we're looking at some deficits in the next 4 years that we're going to have to figure out how we're going to fill those holes. So we'll be spending a big chunk of the session really kind of drilling down so Minnesotans know what those impacts are going to be and how we're going to be able to proactively address those.
And of course, there's the weaponization by the current presidential administration of the funding that is even allocated and given to Minnesota. It's really fascinating, that we have this bipartisan split in the Minnesota House of Representatives. It can either be total gridlock,
that's right,
or perhaps maybe it would be truly for representative of all interests. Unfortunately, I don't know how you navigate any of that in the current political climate under the current administration and the weaponizing of funding of all of these investigations that are coming forward, and of course the targeting and enforcement upon the residents of the city of Minneapolis and Minnesotans all across the state. But so it's definitely going to be a very interesting last session for you.
I would think so. I think we're going to go out with some excitement. Hopefully, and I met with Representative Torkelson, who was the other co-chair of Ways and Means, and we talked about, I think we're on the same page in terms of identifying where those gaps are going to be, what the impact is going to be from the federal government, and how we can proactively try to address those and plug in some of those holes, knowing that we're not going to be able to plug in everything. Obviously, our budget is not compared to the federal budget. We just could not plug everything, but we're going to try to be proactive and at the minimum try to make sure we're helping those that are the most vulnerable and need those resources. And you're right, it has been weaponized. I mean, a lot of the conversation, we should talk about what's happening right now. One of the reasons why we have federal agents kind of occupying our cities right now is the framing has been, or the pretextual framing has been, that they're here to address fraud and to address crime. Well, two things about that. One, locally, we address fraud here. We have been addressing fraud. There have been several charges. There have been several convictions and sentences already for people that have committed fraud against government programs, meaning that we'll have restitution payments are being set up to make sure those resources go back to ultimately get to the people that actually need those resources. And then crime is down. Crime is going down. And that's always been a local state issue for the state and the local municipalities to handle that. Right. And we've been doing a good job of that. We can always do better to make sure every community feels safe when crime is going down, which is one of the reasons I'm running for county attorney to help work on that. But we are well positioned to handle those things. I don't think Democrats have done a great job of talking about the things that we put in place to address fraud, but we have put many provisions in place, many laws in place for checks and balances. In fact, we've got tens of millions of dollars that are still sitting with agencies waiting to be allocated because we have done a very thorough job with checks and balances from that point, from 2023 to moving forward to where we are now. We can do a better job of talking about that, but we are absolutely taking it seriously and addressing that, because we know that any kind of fraud that's committed, that means that there are folks out there that need those resources that aren't getting those resources.
Absolutely, right. Nobody wants to see fraud.
That's right.
No one. It doesn't matter how you vote, what party affiliation you have. Right. The only people that are hurt are the most vulnerable among us in these particular programs, when the funding is stolen and taken away from them or redirected to line the pockets of individuals. Right. So. It really does feel like, as a Democrat, right, you guys are up against the ropes on this conversation, right? And it's very difficult to talk about it without sounding like you're being defensive, right?
Right.
But it's important to have that conversation, as you're saying, right? We have navigated this show for almost 23 years. And we come here, we talk about the things that are happening and are important to the residents of our member cities in the Northwest suburbs, which tend to be taxes and potholes and zoning. And all of the important stuff that happens.
That's right.
But we can't be true to our mission and not talk about what's happening in our neighborhoods right now. And so it may seem political to our viewers at home, or it may seem that we're trying to navigate that balance or taking sides. But I am not on the side of anyone that would perpetrate what is happening today to my neighbors and to our cities. And so with that said, the discussions on fraud, the discussions on the way that our neighbors are being targeted, that you or I can be stopped. That people in our cities are being stopped. Some people are losing their lives. Some are losing their, actual livelihoods. Their families are torn apart. What can you, as a state legislator, do about that?
So one, right now, we're just being very present in the community, with our neighbors. And what I should say is I'm very proud of our neighbors, the way they're standing up to help protect their neighbors, their loved ones, their family members, to get them resources if they're afraid to leave their homes, to drive them to and from work if they're afraid to travel alone. And just in general, being there for folks, right? I mean, I think we're showing the rest of the country and the world, because the spotlight is on us again, unfortunately, of how we can respond collectively to help our neighbors and our friends in a time of chaos and where hate and division is being kind of thrust upon us. And it is being thrust upon us. We didn't ask for this
100%.
Right? So I think that's the one thing I want to make sure that people know. We are very proud of the way Minnesotans are standing up now. And to the point about whether or not we are taking a side or being political or partisan in this, I'll say this. If anyone believes in, we've got the Constitution booklet sitting right here. If anybody believes in the Constitution, you should be really concerned right now. I mean, we're talking about violations of your Fourth Amendment right, violations of your Fifth Amendment right, violations of your First Amendment right. If you believe in that Constitution and you believe in those rights, which are very unique for many countries, and this country was built and based on the rule of law and protecting those inalienable rights, you should be very concerned about what your federal government is doing now. It is very extreme overreach, and you should be concerned about that. So you don't have to pick a side. You can be on the side of the rule of law law, in the sight of the Constitution, and objectively, I would I stand firmly 1,000% behind you and side by side with you if you trust and you believe in that laws. And all we're asking is
100%.
that the federal government respect the Constitution, respect the rule of law.
They took an oath of office to do. You took an oath of office to do that.
That's right. And right now, we're not seeing that respect given to Minnesotans here in our state, and that's what we're pushing back against. Right? It's not about obstructing or impeding any agency from doing anything. What we're saying is, please respect our constitutional rights because we believe in them.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought it back to the Constitution, because rights on paper mean nothing unless we do something to ensure that they're not rewritten.
That's right.
Or taken away.
That's right.
And this environment that we're in, I thought, as a parent, I have children who are grown now, have graduated from college, but they're still young adults starting their life. Yeah. And I'm on the other end of that spectrum. But I thought we had already resolved a lot of this. And it's almost paralyzing to have, this moment where, like, the foundation of which we have built our day-to-day lives is literally being, ripped apart and pulled out from underneath us. I say these things for the people who aren't in this room who can't say them. Have I been impacted by direct action? No. Do I carry around a way to prove that I'm a U.S. citizen? Yes. Should I have to do that? No. None of us should have to do that. Right? The rights in the Constitution that were enshrined apply to everyone who's physically on this land. Period.
That's right.
So as Hennepin County attorney, right, if you were to succeed in achieving that role, and this is where the discussion might get a little in the weeds, but we hear the administration and we hear the people leading Operation Metro Surge refer to the people on the ground as troops and refer to people as having the ability to do what they refer to as a Title VIII enforcement. And they say things like that the city of Minneapolis, that Hennepin County, they don't want to help them locate the 1,300 people they're looking for. Okay, and fundamentally, and this is super important, they have redefined what the instruments that they have and the powers they have truly allow them to do.
That's right.
So we have these administrative warrants.
That's right.
And then we have an actual warrant.
That's right.
And in due process, if anyone, myself, if I get arrested, a clock starts ticking.
That's right.
I'm sitting in jail.
That's right.
If I'm able to bail out or bond out or whatever, but there's 72 hours on which I believe, you can be held.
That's right.
Not 73. Right. 72.
Right.
But if an agency wants to keep someone longer than that, what do they need to do?
They need to have that warrant. That's a part of due process, right? They have to have that judicial warrant saying specifically for that individual that they want to hold in order for the local agency to actually put a hold on those individuals. That is what we're not seeing.
So we have a paperwork problem that is destroying our cities and our neighborhoods. A paperwork problem.
That's right. And a lot of and this is where we go back to respecting the Constitution, respecting the law, right? We're saying if you are going to, there are some caveats and exceptions to the Fourth Amendment, right? And the due process part, and it is that judicial warrant saying that we can infringe upon that Fourth Amendment right of search and seizure and holding someone against their will, so to speak. We're not seeing that cooperation from the federal government, from this agency. So when they're saying we're not cooperating, we're asking them cooperate according to within the guidelines of the Constitution, and we will do the same. Before this Metro Surge, they were here.
Yeah.
They were carrying out the mission of immigration enforcement.
Yeah.
You weren't hearing any problems about that,
Nope.
right?
Yeah.
Not until this Metro surge, under the guise of investigating fraud, which they're not doing because they're not sending accountants in or auditors in to do that.
Right.
We've been doing that, and under this guise of we're here to keep the community safe and keep the streets safe, they're not doing that. Crime has been going down. Locally, we've been handling that as well. In fact, some of the most recent crime has been the physical altercations and the use of force that they've been committing among Minnesotans here. And we can see all that. There's videos out there.
Yeah.
There's eyewitness accounts of that, regardless of what story they want to weave. We have the evidence and the receipts to show what's actually happening on the ground, and so people should pay attention to that. But back to the point, if they were collaboratively working with us locally, we wouldn't have this issue. All we're saying is follow the law. We want to follow the law. We want to respect the law. We took an oath to uphold the Constitution. We're trying to do that. We want to do that. If you want to cooperate, we will work with you to do that.
Yeah, it's that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like they've manufactured this on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the most partisan thing to say and push blame, but why not? Yeah. Why not just get the judicial warrants? Why not just go and pick people up the way that they have historically done it?
I think what we're seeing, the reality is they don't know where these folks are. We don't know where they are either, right?
Right.
Locally, immigration enforcement is not our thing locally.
Yeah.
So we don't have a list of individuals that we may believe or are undocumented that we can give them and say, here's all the addresses that they have. We just don't ask for that status. If someone gets pulled over for a traffic violation, the question from local law enforcement isn't, are you a U.S. citizen, right? We do our job, we uphold our laws, we execute our laws in that way. We don't ask those questions. We don't have this list if they're making out that we are preventing them from doing this. I believe that because they're not finding these individuals that they're saying that we're preventing them from finding, they're creating all these other ways.
Yeah.
I mean, if you knew where individuals were, you wouldn't have indiscriminate traffic stops of individuals. You wouldn't have stop folks walking on the sidewalk. You wouldn't be in violation of the Fourth Amendment, ramming through doors in communities and snatching people. You wouldn't do that.
Correct.
If you knew where these individuals were. Because you knew where these individuals were in targeted actions and you have a warrant, that may be something that we can assist on. Right. But that's not happening.
Yeah, and it's very disheartening to see the leadership of Metro Surge today. So there was a press conference today.
Saw it.
Asked this question about targeted enforcement and to say everything we're doing is targeted. Our troops, their words, go out to get a target. And if they encounter people on the way there or on the way back of interest, that is what they're doing. Well, okay. So let's take it back a little bit.
We should be clear. When they say that, and when they say everything is targeted, and if we encounter people on the way to and from whatever this target is that they say they're trying to acquire, someone of interest is based on their skin color.
Or their accent.
Right? That's discriminatory.
Absolutely.
That is what that is.
100%.
You know, and I was also glad to see that law enforcement chiefs had a press conference before that, saying that, look, you are putting in jeopardy what we've been working on for the last 6 years since George Floyd was murdered to try to build trust within the community and law enforcement. You're wearing things that say police on them. You're not local police.
You're not.
They're not even police.
They're not.
You don't have the authority to execute and carry out local law enforcement activities, but yet you're stopping people. And you're not legally, you can't even do that. That's also a violation of Fourth Amendment constitutional rights, Those traffic stops. And there's frustration because local communities are saying, well, why aren't our local law enforcement protecting us? Why are these folks appearing to be local law enforcement and harming us and violating our rights? So I was glad to hear them come out and take a stand and say, look, we don't like this because it is causing division and tension within our communities. Absolutely frustrated that Bovino came out afterwards with their press conference to basically tell us, don't believe what your lying eyes are telling you.
Correct.
Right?
That's right.
Believe us.
Right.
We're making you safe. I have no idea if those people that he mentioned are actually were here in Minnesota or when they picked these individuals up. We have seen that there's been moments where they said they have picked people up, and we learned that those people were already either deported or they were in custody for months before that.
Correct.
They're in this way. They're padding the numbers. I mean, they are trying to reach certain numbers.
Sure.
We've seen that they're giving incentives for arresting people, and they get the bonus. These agents get bonuses whether those people get actually charged or released. That is a perverse incentive. It incentivizes people to violate the Constitution. And the reason they're doing it is because they're doing it with impunity, because they don't believe that there's going to be any accountability.
You know, we're almost out of time. Right, and we can talk about this, and there's so much that we should continue to talk about. I think that's the number one thing. People need to talk about this with each other. We need to unite and educate and really try to find a way to get to what's real before we lose sight of that. And it's a very trying and difficult time for everyone. We are entering into an election season.
That's right.
You're running for a very important office in Hennepin County. You have legislative work that is going to be taking place on February 17th. We're just trying to figure out how to navigate all of this. So we got 2 minutes left. What would you have as advice for us?
I think for folks, we are in an election year. Our caucus is coming up on February 3rd. Minnesotans are very active politically. This is a moment to come. I call it the second great get-together outside of the state fair, which is in warmer weather. Come out to your caucuses. Talk to your fellow Minnesotans and neighbors about what you want to see as a political platform to help make your state better. It's very important to do that. Raise your hand to be a delegate. In the Senate district conventions, but also in the county convention. That's where you can be a delegate for people running for county attorney. So be engaged in that way. A lot of what's happening now, this fear and intimidation, is meant to tamp down our participation in the electoral process. Because what people know is when you do terrible things and you harm people, usually want to get those people out of that office.
Absolutely.
And so those folks that have the power now are concerned they're going to lose that power. But what I can tell folks is you need to show up, because you should have people in there that are going to stand up for the community, stand up for the Constitution, stand up and actually participate and execute the oath that they take to protect us all. Those are the kind of leaders you want to have in those roles. So make sure you participate in the electoral process to make sure you have those leaders that are going to stand up for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's wonderful. And I think it is important. And we are going to be talking more about precinct caucuses in our segments. It's just, we need to stay together. We need to stay the course. We need to drive out the darkness with light.
That's right.
And as Minnesotans, we can all come together and continue to strive and work for a brighter and better future for everyone. This too shall pass.
That's right.
So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Representative Frazer, for being here. Thank you for all your years of service in the Minnesota House. We wish you the best in your race for Hennepin County Attorney.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for your willingness to continue to serve. And until next time, please continue to look out for each other. And as always, be well. Thank you. Good night.